The reason I'm not selling is because of this. The reason I'm not doing it is their fault. Remember, we're the only problem, the only solution. If I can have you come from that state, you're going to be in a great place. You're going to be in a very creative place. Now, feed and nourish your mind with only high-quality material. That means the podcast you're listening to. I highly encourage Seven-Figure Standard podcasts. I highly encourage you to share. But the podcast you're doing, the books you're reading, you know, for about 2 years, you might want to try this. It might work for you. It worked for me. Like when I read now, I always get the physical copy of the book, but I also listen to the audible version. But I speed up the audible version. I put it like on 1.5 speed or 2 speed, and it's amazing the amount of retention it happens. That works for me. That might not work for you. You might want to test it for yourself. But we want to constantly nourish our mind because the better and better ideas we put in our mind, it's going to show up in our results. It'll show up in our programming. But transformation, it's bold, it's decisive, and it's unstoppable. But here's the trick on transformation. It never happens when you get the result, it happens when you decide. The transformation happens the second you decide. It's not when you get the achievement or you get the result. It happens when you decide. So that's what you want to remember. A lot of people say, I haven't transformed because they haven't seen the results. The outside result, there's always a delay because it's always chasing the inside world. Always chasing. Now, worry, doubt, and fear have no chance over somebody who's determined. When you're determined, you're like, this is what I'm doing no matter what. This is who I am. This is what I am absolutely doing. That's the person that's determined. Okay? Now, transformation never asks for permission, but it always comes with a price. That price is standards. You have to build your standards one day at a time. That price is discipline. And that price is an unwavering commitment to your dream. And what does it mean, unwavering? This is what I'm creating no matter what. I don't care how long it takes, this is what's happening. You know, I was talking to Jake on the break. Jake had so much adversity last year on this certain project. And this guy handled it with such grace, with such power. And I mean, every wall that you can hit, this man hit. And I just said, keep going, keep going, keep going. And he said that the deal finally closed. How long did you work on it, Rick? How many months? 18 months. He worked on it for 18 months. But he wouldn't take no for an answer. Him and I would talk. He's like, well, what do you think? We would go over different ways to get this deal done. And when everything said no, he kept going. That's somebody with an unwavering commitment to his dreams.
I remember the call and you said, tell your investor you have good news.
Yeah.
Have good news. They're not going to close for whatever amount of time. Well, and then I got them to split the deal into 2 parts so I was able to close it. So that was like your idea of a call.
Yeah, so Jake, we're on a call, and he goes, Arash, I'm dealing with another block. He said, I got partially good news. I said, oh, we can leverage that. I said, we can leverage that. So I told him, this is why communication is so important. I said, Jake, I want you to call him, and I want you to sell him on this idea. I've got great news for us to create a win-win. And you weren't going to do it that way initially, correct?
Nope.
Yeah. So he followed my instruction, and it went to finish. See, you just need an ounce of an opening, and it's always a good news. It's just how you frame it to somebody. So it's always in framing. So when you understand that, especially if you're working on anything or you're leading people, always look at the positive. If you communicate the positive, remember how I said suggestion is the most powerful force? The only thing his investor heard was win-win. I've got great news. That's what he planted in his mind. And look what happened. So now how can we leverage that? From now on, that's what we do. Every situation. I've got so much good news for you. Like, let me tell you. When you do that, you're planting that idea in the mind. Now, every day you have a choice and a path. One leads to comfort and safety, your old self, and the other path leads to achievement, becoming the person you're meant to be. So let me share this idea with you. Not one person in here has anything they need to fix. Do you guys understand that? There's nothing wrong with you, exactly how you are right now. There's nothing you need to fix. Now, do you want to upgrade? Sure, but that's not fixing. That's why we work with a new model. When people are giving people advice, you got to fix this, you got to fix this, you got to fix this. No, you got to work with a bigger idea. It's a much different idea. So none of you have anything to fix. Do you have things you can grow into? Absolutely. But I don't want you to accept that idea. If anyone tells you you got to fix this, just reject that idea. I never try to fix anybody. I don't need to fix anybody. What I do is I work from their goal and show them how to get it. So there's nothing that people need to fix. They need to grow. Now, the question isn't can you do it, it's are you willing to pay the price? So look at the goal you wrote down today. Now, if it was impossible for you to fail, and it took 18 months like Jay, would you maintain the standards and discipline? Would you maintain it? Now, if you look at Jake from my perspective, and then you guys can relate to this story, I watched Jake go from somebody that was so analytical to somebody that was so much more calm and relaxed. Now, like in that 18 months, he grew so much. Now, will you release being a watcher where you're always playing life from the sidelines and becoming a player in your life, where you're taking action, where you're in the spirit of it, where you're working outside your comfort zone? The moment of transformation is right now, but it can never happen until you pay the price. Now, RJ, we had a commitment at lunch. Are you going to pay the price now? That doesn't sound, a nod is not it. Yes. I mean, you got to own it. We just talked about accepting an idea. I want you to own it. I don't care how old you are. It doesn't matter how old you are. I want you to own it. You own it, you can do it. Now, let me tell you what I've heard, what I've learned, not just heard, what I've learned about the price of success. It takes relentless discipline. It's driven by a worthy goal, and it demands unwavering commitment, and action is critical. These are what I've learned about paying the price. So when I ask you this morning, you have to decide what you want. Then you have to ask yourself, am I willing to pay the price? This is the framework for the price. Relentless discipline. That's when I keep doing the thing even when I don't see the result. I'm driven by a purpose, a worthy goal that is so much bigger than what I've ever done. I have, every day is day one. I recommit every single day, and I take action. I take action every day. But you don't need to take 16 different action steps. It's 3 actions every day on your most important actions coming from your goal. That's it. 3 actions every day. Now, the size of your success always matches the size of your goals. Small goals, small size of your success. Big goals demand big sacrifices. When I say sacrifice, that means you're doing things where you would run to pleasure before, but you're willing to do the thing long enough so you create the ultimate pleasure, which is freedom, which is happiness, which is fulfillment. So, when you understand that most people live their life on autopilot, and they literally live their same year for 50 years. I had a client yesterday call me, and she said, I can't get what you just said out of your mind. I told her this thing, and she said, I don't want to live like this for another 50 years. And I said, well, it's time to upgrade your commitment. Or else what happens is you're going to live the same way. I promise you, most people are living the same year for 50 years. They're literally living the same year. So, dreams always respond to actions. But understand this. The bigger your goals, the bigger the resistance you're going to overcome. Now, action speeds up everything. Action speeds up everything. And when you take action, even when you don't want to take the action, still do it. Watch what happens. Watch what's going to happen. So break the addiction of being your old self. I want you to break the addiction of being your old self. Well, how do I do that? So every time you start coming from your old self, you start saying, well, the results aren't here yet. Say, that was my old self. Every time you say, I don't know if I can do it, say, no, that's my old self. Every time you do that, you start rewiring yourself. You literally start changing the program. Okay? Literally start changing the program. Now, your goals are your future reality. The goal is a fact. You wouldn't have the goal if it wasn't meant to be achieved. They are spiritual seeds that need proper nurturing to grow. What is that proper nurturing? Thinking in a certain way. Recalibrating your emotional state like you already have it, and taking action even before you're ready. That's the price you're paying. Now, most people don't have goals, they have hopes and wishes. Goals demand commitment, they demand persistence, and consistent effort. They need somebody to show up every day. That's what the goal demands. But the goal is coming after you just as much as you're going after the goal. So when you set a goal, the goal's coming to you. Well, when you stop taking action, the goal goes the other way. It literally goes the other way. So that's why starting and stopping is so damaging to your fulfillment of your dream. So I told you we got to start making rules. One of the rules is I never start and stop. I'm the most consistent person I have ever met. I have the most positive, prosperous mental attitude. When I'm frustrated, I deal with my emotions instead of keep sending out frustration, because that's all I'm going to get back. But your mind is a garden. What you plant is what you feed it, and it will grow into results. I want you to plant enormous beliefs, and you'll create big results. So we can always go to results and work backwards and say, that tells me the beliefs that are driving me. Plant limiting beliefs, you will create negative results. So if I'm sitting in your shoes right now, if I'm sitting there, I look at my goal right now, and I say, which belief is outdated? Which belief no longer serves me? I'll give you one that doesn't serve you, chasing results. That never works. Never works. Not thinking I'm good enough, real poor belief. Okay, that was installed by somebody else. That wasn't installed by you, it was installed by somebody else. And so let's look at our goal and say, what goal doesn't serve me? I mean, what belief doesn't serve me anymore? Coming from my analytical mind, not a great place to come from. Why do I come from that? Because how? I want everything to be coming from when you're calm and free. When you're calm and free. Well, how do you get calm and free? You build your faith muscle. And you stop trying to solve problems. You're just a problem solver. You see the difference in it? You're not trying to solve it. That's who you are. So when you plant big dreams backed with big discipline and persistence, then you nurture those dreams daily by your processes, you will create a life of freedom. I promise you. I can assure you you will. Your dreams are just a spiritual seed. It needs nurture. You need to water those. We need to make the roots strong. And when you make the roots strong, it's going to come faster than you think. Like we were talking about Michael, like how quick his transformation happened. It happened so fast. And I gave him a framework. He told me what he wanted in terms of sales. So I upped the number. I think do you remember what you told me?
7.
He told me 7, so I upped it to 10. I said, even if you don't do 10, you'll do 7. Well, he ended up crushing it. But then I gave him a framework, and I said, everything you do it now. You do it with being in the spirit of it, and we get out of your comfort zone. So I gave him 4 things to do. He only remembered 1. He remembered 1. I gave him 4. But 4 things every day is not hard to do. Can you guys agree with that? Like, if I could tell you, you guys would all have quantum leaps every 90 days by doing 3 to 4 things, would that be worth it to you? Yet we get stuck in the seduction of more. I gotta do more, I gotta do 10 things. I gotta do 10 things. I literally do a few things every day. I do the same few things. And I do it every single day. And I do it 1% better every day. See, I understand the 1% rule. It's not just this nice saying, get 1% better. I define what my 1% is. And I work on it every single day. I work on it meticulously every day. I want to make sure, if I'm not doing something in the spirit of it, I don't want to do it. Because I just wasted my time. So that's one of my 1%ers. But if I could just get you guys to be 1% more in the spirit of the outcome of what you want, you'd be blown away how fast you'll create it. Now, the size of your goals and dreams also reveals to you the size of your identity. So if you're sitting there and I'm like, why don't I go all in? Why don't I go bigger? Not because of, but the key is not being attached to the day. The key is being committed to the process, to the journey of growing, to the journey of serving. You know, if you make serving a habit, I promise you it'll change. If you stop worrying about what you're getting, everything will change. Go ahead. It's similar. Being in the spirit is a flow state where you're just in love with it. You know when you're in love with a good movie? You're just in it, right? Have you ever seen Man on Fire by Denzel Washington? It's such a great movie. I watched it like 10 times. I'm always in the spirit of it. I have a man crush on Denzel. He's my guy. Yeah. So, but being in the spirit, like when you're reading a great book, you're just on so much. Like when you're watching a great movie, when you're going to a game, you know, whatever you enjoy doing, like you're in the spirit of it. That's what you want to be in everything. Go ahead.
Being spirit and being flow is that moment when you actually lose track of time and space.
Yeah.
And you're fully absorbed.
Yeah.
You're in it.
That's exactly it. Yeah. See, what you're doing when you're in the spirit is you're owning the present moment. But your mind is not racing. It's just super calm. When you're in that flow state, everyone's been there. You're just like, everything slows down. Like everything completely slows down. When you train yourself to be in the spirit, it becomes part of your identity. You're never worried like I didn't do it right, I did it wrong. It won't even matter. You're just in the spirit. And so you want to get in the spirit and make that a habit. It's a game changer for you. Being realistic never creates breakthroughs. You want to be illogical, not logical. And that's something very hard for people to understand. Logic kills more dreams. There's two things that kills your dreams. Logic and doubt. Those are the two things that kill your dreams. You want to become illogical. You want to be bold and you want to go big. Because there's nothing small about any of you. There's not one thing that's small about you. I don't care what results you have, that still doesn't make you small. You might have had bad behaviors, you might have had bad thinking, but that's not who you are. Our divine right is worthiness. Every one of you is already worthy. I'm not telling you this to make you feel better. Everyone is. So what we have to do is accept our worthiness, and if we accept it, it will transform. Now,